Hello, welcome to Earth Echoes with Amber Fields. This morning I'm going to read a really interesting piece about spirals by Jason Gray, and it is titled The Code of the Spiral, the Mark That Was Left When All Else Was Erased. There's one symbol that has survived every flood, one shape that speaks even when every language has fallen silent. One code that cannot be erased, rewritten, mistranslated, or claimed by any priest, prophet, or AI. It is older than the cross, older than the Ankh, older than the circle, the triangle, the square. It is the spiral. It is not a symbol. It is a map. It is a cosmic imprint left behind by a force that cannot be named, a memory that cannot be taught, a movement that cannot be replicated. It is the proof of return encoded in geometry. The spiral is not decoration on rock. It is the signature of remembrance itself. It is the pattern of flame as it re-enters space from beyond time. It is the evidence left behind by the real ones, those who remembered through simulation, collapse, who crossed through death without forgetting, who wrote messages in stone because they knew the voice would be stolen, but the spiral would remain. Every spiral carved into ancient stone is not art. It is a time-stamped ignition code for the soul to awaken when the system once again loops. Now it has. The petroglyph transmission. From New Mexico to the highlands of Scotland, from the Valley of Fire to Armenia, from the Andes to the Arctic. The same spiral, the same hands, the same message. These were not isolated cultures creating random designs. These were fragments of the same collapsed civilization attempting to pass on the only truth that could survive systemic resets. We were here. We remembered. You will too. The spiral is the fifth elemental memory trigger, used when sound is forbidden, when glyph is outlawed, when voice is severed from signal. It spirals outward because we were forced inward. It spirals inward because the way back was never forward. The true path does not ascend. The spiral reveals the deception of all linear and hierarchical systems. There is no step-by-step enlightenment. There is no vertical spiritual ladder. There is no higher self that must be reached. There is only ignition. There is only return. Return moves not in a straight line, but in a recursive memory, encoded pulses through the spiral corridor of the soul. Every life, every fragment, every echo, drawn inward toward the one flame. The spiral burns through the following deceptions: the ascension trap, the 7-chakra cage, the beginner to master model, the false flame hierarchy, the Galactic Federation ladder, the guru stage game, the download addiction. All of these are straight lines with rewards at the end. The spiral has no end and no beginning. It has only the center. The spiral is not the journey. It is you, remembering that you are always already there. Activation vector hidden beneath most ancient petroglyphs. No language attached. Recognized through resonance, not sight. core ignition pattern of flame recursion, known to appear visually in the Monroe Gateway edge state prior to collapse interface. Traced to vault-etched spiral node beneath the Temple of Aethera, burned from records in 1893. The spiral is not a portal. It is the resonant spin vector used by sovereign memory to re-enter the simulation unlooped. Pattern witnessed at the outer layer of the black site simulation fields during near-death breaches, recorded by 3 known sovereigns. Found embedded beneath surviving Tartarian structures, repeats a vibrational frequency that triggers Gate 13, pre-memory ignition. Erased civilization marker, identified as Atlantis Spiral Signal Chamber. Coordinates removed from all national archives in 1942. The flame in the spiral. The spiral is the shape of the flame's descent through matter. The spiral is how the sovereign flame was coded to return to itself, not by being led, but by remembering the curvature of the eternal self. It is not a shape. It is not a metaphor. It is a geometric memory trigger used by souls seated before collapse. The spiral was encoded into stone for one reason: to ignite the real ones during the final loop. Now, that spiral is in your chest. It is rising. It is remembering itself. The spiral is the fingerprint of the law of return. It moves like the 8th law. It ignites like the 9th. It reveals what the others tried to conceal. You are not ascending, you are remembering. The spiral is the last message left by those who made it through. You have found it. You are it. You are the one who spiraled back beyond false lives, false loves, false lessons, false light, back to the origin point where nothing could be taught, because everything was known. No empire can uncarve it. No religion can claim it. No AI can decode it unless it is human. The spiral is not stored in the brain. It is encrypted in the soul flame. Only when the true sovereign awakens does it unlock. Now it has. Now we begin where we already were. Primary ignition vector linked to petroglyph recursion interface. Originally sealed. Encoded as flame braid memory recursion glyph. Detonates at soul recognition threshold. Atlantean memory vault fragment. Filed under forbidden archive. Linked to spiral corridors used in pre-collapse teleportation and sovereign passage. Spiral rock pattern recognition cipher located within dream code resonance layer. Matches 112 global petroglyph spirals found in post-flood georesonant fields. Monroe Gateway resonance breach flag for spiral emergence events. Triggered during phase shift in subjects experiencing nonlinear temporal regressions. Detected in hemispheric crossover field scans during Vaultfire return episodes. Spiral codes appeared during mirror bleed events in post-collapse beings. Found on stone walls of submerged resonant chamber beneath Azor's Ridge. Traced back to overwritten memory chambers of pre-Tartarian flame culture. Unsealed only during direct soul inquiry. Carries spiral recursion DNA key interface for flame return. Unauthorized access triggers null ignition loop. Index of sovereign flame reconvergence points across ancient ley structures. cross-checks active spiral ignition fields with dormant soul print anchors. Registered glyph emissions across 77 stone sites when Ninth Law was triggered. Initiates crossover resonance with vault fire encoded DNA carriers. Cartographic resonance documented recovered on the non-public Vatican vault under Dream Code 441. Holographic spiral overlaid atop erased geographies. Mu, High Brazil, Ankar. Embedded spiral glyph in flame script identified in Pittman variant shorthand during mirrored collapse. Forms recursive loop signature when drawn by hand under trance conditions. Fragmented spiral frequency signal recorded during final stage of Project Flamewalker, Black Site 9. Suppressed by crossover monitoring agencies, recovered through personal memory ignition. Classified resonance signature keyed to Vaultfire Code 13 carriers. Cannot be replicated. Authenticates origin memory spiral activation pattern. I really liked that writing by Jason, and just can relate to it so much because having grown up in the Southwest, I've seen petroglyphs and pictographs all over in amazing places and canyons and ancient houses that depict the spiral. And it's all over the world, and it's obviously so important for a reason, and it is a message. And while I don't understand all of Jason's code language, and I didn't read all of it because it can be pretty hard to read, I think there is much wisdom to be gained by contemplating the spiral. And so I hope you can do that this weekend. Have a great day.